Five or Flop, a podcast for the best and worst historical fiction has to offer. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm Erin, and each week we'll be reading a different historical fiction book to see if they're a five or a flop.
Our theme for season 5 is family and friends, and we have another repeat host this week. You might have to cast your mind all the way to season 2 to Love in the Time of Cholera. It's Hannah.
Hannah, welcome!
Yay! Thanks for having me again.
Would you like to introduce what we are reading and why you picked it?
Yes, we are reading A Gentleman in Moscow. I read this a couple of years ago at the recommendation of a friend. Actually, you guys know Sarah Gates.
Oh, yeah.
She
famously
recommended it to me. Yes, famously Sarah Gates. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought it would be a good contribution to the series. So I hope you enjoyed it. I guess I'm about to find out if you did.
I think this marks our first Russia book.
Well, if you don't count the Anastasia Royal Diaries.
Oh, okay, well technically that does
Kind of.
count. Anyways.
And did we confirm this author's name is pronounced Amor Towles? Did anyone Google it?
No.
You know what, Grace? I was real busy today.
No, and it's why I didn't say it.
It's okay, we'll go with Amor.
Yeah, it's the towels that throws me off.
Yeah.
Well, unless it would be Towles.
I don't know what else it would be. It just seems phonetic, but when you say it out loud...
To get into his author bio, he's just like an American author who is from like the Boston area. So I don't think it's anything crazy here.
Like 3 minutes in and Flynn is making so much noise. Stop shaking.
She's excited to have you here.
Adorable.
She's still holding out hope that Jen is going to come in at any minute, I think. So.
Aw.
Nope, not tonight.
No
Not
Jen.
tonight.
She's not allowed.
She was here last week.
Anyway, speaking of last week, has anyone done anything fun recently or notable?
It's funny because I gave myself pause when I said last week because we actually recorded the episode from last week on Cersei with Jen, I think before Christmas or before New Year's. Either way.
I think before New Year's.
Either way, it was several weeks ago at this point.
It's been a bit.
So actually, I'm excited to be back pod recording. It's been a minute. We had our holiday break as I'm struggling to catch up with some books later this season. But in terms of what's actually happening this week, we just got back from Charlotte. It was Santiago's dad's 60th birthday.
Woohoo!
So we had a lot of... Flynn is now licking my copy of Gone with the Wind. Anyway. So we were there for the weekend. It was a really nice time. Got to spend time with his parents, which was a lot of fun. And then we drove back yesterday, and I will get to what we did in the car soon.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Ominous.
Ominous. Hannah, what's up with you?
Okay, what's interesting lately? Also enjoyed the holiday break. Got to reread A Gentleman in Moscow over the break, of course. But what's fun this winter is Jen and I signed up for a winter biking competition. So on Sunday, we went out for a winter bike ride, a longer one. And we actually got snowed on for like an hour. And it was very cold, but we finished it and it was okay.
Woohoo! What constitutes a longer one?
It was 35 miles, which
Kind
we've done
of
longer.
mid-range for you, actually.
You've done further.
It was a gravel ride, so it's rougher terrain, and it was a lot of climbing.
Ooh.
And it was winter.
And it was winter and windy and snowing and hailing.
Oh, and I know you don't really like gravel rides that much.
Did Jen tell you that?
No, I was at your house the other weekend when you did a gravel ride, to which you both said, wow, I don't really like gravel rides that much. Actually, Jen said Hannah didn't really like gravel rides that much.
Oh, so she tattled on
Jen
you.
Jen likes them.
But I think Hannah said it first, so...
I like them okay. They're definitely harder, because it's like, it's smooth road versus like kind of like a lot of bumps and stuff. It's fine. I do prefer road, I guess, but I can do gravel. I'm trying to get better,
Owie.
I think I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I think I would only like rides, but really the closest I get is Soul Cycle, so...
Honestly, it seems
Even
like a great
terrain
time.
there.
Even terrain. All right, Grace, what's up with you?
Well, I also had a very athletic weekend, but in a different way. We
Woo.
started up this NCAA gymnastics season again, so there was a lot of watching. Of course, we have our fantasy league. And I would say the two of you are amongst the highest achievers in the fantasy league.
Hannah came out of nowhere to snag first place last week.
Yes.
I thought it was Diana all the way.
I'm kind of shocked because I had really low expectations after going last in the draft, and now I'm like, maybe it was a fluke.
Well, also, a lot of people were quite low performing this week just because I think there were injuries people didn't know about. There were some girls who didn't make lineups they were expected to make. so not everyone had a complete score.
Also, the flu
I
is
saw
going
that.
around.
The flu's going around, so I think next week everyone will be a little bit more even-keeled.
And next week I won't be in first.
Well, maybe you will be, and it will be even more of an achievement.
I will
Wow.
say, I've done some thorough research. Usually, I do no research at all. And I really didn't for my draft, but post-draft research of who I should put up, I've done a lot of research. And I currently have a list on my phone that I will reveal to no one of who I will be trading for once trades open next
Oh,
week.
I've already been thinking about trades
Oh,
too.
shoot.
I am so locked in and ready for these trades because I've never bothered with trades before. So
Yeah, me neither. But
Dang. Maybe I should stop tweeting until trades are over.
no, honestly, a lot of my intel does come from your Twitter, a lot has come from the actual school's Twitter accounts. And I've been like sneaking around there.
Ooh.
And I will say none of the girls I'm trading, I'm not looking at any LSU girls because I already have a few.
Uh-huh.
But like the LSU page, like seeing who they're posting, and they're just my example, so you don't get any illusions about who I'm picking.
Clearly, none of the
mystery.
girls from UW, what is it, Whitewater,
But
that
they're
are all
all-
injured.
All of them.
It's like a mass injury event over there.
I know.
Although I will say, Macy McGowan, if you're listening to this, I hope
Oh.
you're feeling better, Queen.
Fix your back. Start doing floor.
Please.
All right. What has everyone been reading?
Well, may I start?
You may.
So, Santiago and I together have been on a reading journey. Santiago famously of Brazil Maru, which he did not enjoy. Well, we have found the book series for him, and we have been reading out loud on our several long car trips lately. The entire Click series.
Reading out loud?
I was going to say, I forgot. I think you did tell me that you were just reading them out loud.
Well, they don't have audiobooks until book 10.
What?
Oh my god.
I believe the only books that have audiobooks are Boys R Us, P.S. I Loathe You, and the Summer series. And there are no other audiobooks. So
Not even the New Year's Eve special prequel?
Oh, the prequel, yes.
Okay.
Other than that, we do have to read the entire series out loud.
Oh my god.
So between coming home from Boston after Christmas and then the trip to Charlotte both ways, we are now on book 3, Revenge of the Wannabes. And I have found the series for Santiago.
Of course. We should have guessed all along.
Unsurprisingly. But yes, so, and it's actually funny because we got into it because my sister has been rereading the Click series, but I have a full set of our books from when we were kids. Flynn is up in your face. So when we were with each other for Christmas, she was like giving me back some, and I was like bringing her some new ones to read. So that's how it came about. And we watched the movie, which is among the 100 greatest movies of all time.
Classic. It should be on the poster.
It should be on the poster.
Iconic.
Anyway, so that's what I'm reading amongst several other items.
All right. So just to maintain the order, Hannah, you have to go next. And you put some interesting things that I'm happy to hear about.
I guess I should be consulting my cell phone
What
for the
an
notes
array.
here. Oh yeah. So over the break, I finished. More recently in the break, I finished Jane Eyre. I read 2 of the Heated Rivalry books,
Wait, which
and then
two?
I had to take a break. The first 2.
Okay.
But I had to take a break because honestly, it was kind of a lot. You know, I felt a little scandalized.
Should that be the series I do after I finish the Hunger Games? As I was texting you about today?
Yes, you won't like them.
Okay, fair enough. I'll watch the show first.
Okay.
You need to. It's really good. And then I also, on a completely different genre, all 3 of these are very different
That's why I
genres,
like the
guess,
list.
is that Jen was reading this book on the grid, and I have now stolen it from her and have started it. So,
Part of her nonfiction journey?
yes, it was part of her nonfiction journey, so I stole it because I wanted to learn about the grid as well. And I think it's literally called The Grid.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I need to go on a nonfiction journey.
You want to
It's
learn about the grid?
Close enough to the new year to make a resolution.
Honestly, is the Click not a form of nonfiction? Was it not considered my gospel as a youth?
So
Yeah,
true.
so true.
It's very accurate of the era, for sure.
Oh, yes.
All right. So for me, I just finished reading Watchmen. It's the only book that I've read this year that I can talk about because it's not a pod book. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's a graphic novel, and it's like a alternate universe America where we have superheroes, and because of that like changed the way that the Cold War goes.
Was it also a show?
I think so. I have not seen the show.
Interesting.
But anyway, it was very good, and I would highly recommend, even though that's not, like, coming from someone who that's not my normal shtick.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
there you go.
I like a graphic novel.
All right. I really don't like graphic novels, but I will keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I read Persepolis in school.
Oh, there you go. Also a classic of the genre.
That was very good, but other than that, I don't really like graphic novels.
Yes. I'll read one every so often, but yeah,
You should
not
read
my
the ones
go-to.
my sister was reading.
The what?
Wasn't Rose reading one in her story?
Oh, like Snot Girl or something?
Yeah, you
I'm not
should.
going to read those. Sorry, Rose. I'm not going to do that.
She doesn't listen anyway.
I don't think
All right.
I've read a graphic novel since like a long, long time ago. So
Well, are we ready to talk about a non-graphic novel, A Gentleman in Moscow?
A
Yes.
regular novel, some might say.
Some may say. All right, let's do the synopsis. In 1922, Count Alexander Rostov is deemed an unrepentant aristocrat by a Bolshevik tribunal. He is sentenced to house arrest in the Metropole, a grand hotel across the street from the Kremlin. Rostov, an indomitable man of erudition and wit, has never worked a day in his life and must now live in an attic room while some of the most tumultuous decades in Russian history are unfolding outside the hotel's doors. Unexpectedly, his reduced circumstances give him access to a much larger world of emotional discovery.
That's a great synopsis.
Short and succinct, and I think, as we'll get into, because this is a character book and not a plot book, a good summary.
Agreed.
Okay, let's talk about our main man, Amor. I just have his page up on his website. He was born and raised in the Boston area. He has several novels, including Rules of Civility and The Lincoln Highway, and a collection of shorter fiction, Table for Two. I don't know if anyone has read any of those.
no.
No, but I have seen them in many a bookstore. They are very popular.
Both Bill Gates and President Barack Obama included A Gentleman in Moscow and The Lincoln Highway on their annual book recommendation lists.
Wait, Obama and who?
Bill Gates.
Wow.
Bill Gates does that?
I did not know that. Maybe he stopped a list, but
Was not aware of either of those. I
Um,
mean, I know they exist. I didn't know the book was on them. Let me clarify.
Well, that's the kind of thing I'm like, is Bill Gates trying to like reheat Obama's nachos? Because everyone knows that he does
it's
that.
Obama's thing.
Yeah.
It is.
So, A Gentleman in Moscow was on the bestsellers list for 2 years and was named one of the best books of 2016 by the Chicago Tribune, Washington Post, and Philadelphia Inquirer, the San Francisco Chronicle, and NPR. It is a very widely regarded book, but I don't really think it's won awards, at least that I know of.
I feel like it sits kind of in the sweet spot in the middle. We read books sometimes that are very like high honor award books, and then we see ones that are very like bestseller list type books. And I think this one kind of straddles the line.
Yeah.
Where it's got like a really high regarded author, but its achievements are not, winning the National Book Award or anything like that.
Yeah.
In 2024, Paramount Plus released a miniseries starring Ewan McGregor. I don't know if anyone's watched that.
No.
No.
But that sounds delightful.
And then also his other book I'm seeing now, The Lincoln Highway, is being adapted into a feature film with the creator of The Bear writing and directing. So that's pretty cool. I don't know anything about that book, but I'm like, interesting.
Neither do I.
Oh, something I found interesting doing historical accuracy research. I found someone's blog that they had gone to one of his book talks. And according to that person who went, he apparently said he does no background research at all until his first draft is done. So he just picks a subject he's just like interested in and knows kind of about and writes about it and then fills in the research.
Interesting.
Oh.
Which I did not get that, but I thought this was, it felt very real.
I can't imagine writing that way.
It seems quite accurate.
Especially for a book like this.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are some books we've read where it's doable to do that.
I also read online on the Wikipedia page
Yeah.
that apparently he got the inspiration for this book from visiting like a fancy hotel in Paris.
And he was like, I could stay here for 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, have anyone, I know we haven't seen the show, but has anyone read anything else?
This is a first.
This is
Nope.
the first? All right, same here. Well then, our disclaimer. Our judgments come based on the book and characters within the book rather than any real historical figures they may have been based on. Spoilers ahead.
Hannah, this is going to be a more positive experience for you than it was last time.
Great. I'm really excited. That means maybe you guys liked it.
I
so-
liked it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Something I do want to talk about, which I found during the historical accuracy section, but I think it's more appropriate to bring up in this section, and I think it's something we might want to touch about. This is something I did not pick up on at all. But in his FAQ about this book on his website, he says, like, oh, you might have noticed an interesting structure and, like, use of time in this book. So I'm just going to read exactly what I copy-pasted. From the day of the Count's house arrest, the chapters advance by a doubling principle. 1 day after arrest, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, 16 years after arrest. At this midpoint, a halving principle is initiated, with the narrative leaping to 8 years until the Count's escape, 4 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, 6 weeks, 3 weeks, 10 days, 5 days, 2 days, 1 day, and finally the turn of the revolving door.
Whoa.
I did not notice that.
I did not pick up on that at all, much like in the Luminaries.
I was
did
just
not
gonna
pick
say,
up on it.
it's exactly like in the Luminaries where every section was half the length of the section before.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed like that there was like it felt slower, and then as you kept reading, it felt more fast paced. But I didn't realize it was like actually structurally.
Well, and also we were just saying before we started, we were like, oh, maybe we can't remember or put our finger on a ton of exact plot points because this is not a plot forward book. This is a character forward book.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I can remember that biggest jump. What was it, like 16 years?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Count's daughter aged up so much.
Yeah.
Like we came back into the next chapter and she went from being a little girl to being a young woman who had
Mm-hmm.
grown up in this hotel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I don't know if we really like want to go into that much detail. I think it does impact the pacing for sure.
It does. Because I like the book and I have mostly positive things to say about it. I do have one complaint, which is the beginning is slow.
Yeah.
The first, I would say, 120 or so pages took me a while. And there is like a big plot event that turned it around for me. And after that point, I was smooth sailing. I was good. But up until it's hinted at through the beginning of the book that in 1926, the Count is going to go up to the roof of the hotel to throw himself off.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen before it does. It's like hints are dropped. And so I'm like, but again, like there's no plot really. It's just the premise of the book being acted out. And in the earlier sections, you're not with as many of the other characters so much. You're just kind of with the Count.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading, I'm like, not really, I'm like, I don't really get what the point of this is. Not much is happening. The prose is really lovely and this is a great character, but it's really slow. And then at that around 100, 120 pages, he goes up to the roof of the hotel and he does not end up jumping off. And then it really picks up because he gets a job and he gets friends.
Yes.
And so then they introduce like a bigger cast of characters into his world. Mm-hmm. Not that there weren't other characters before, but none that were, you know, in the Count's heart.
Yeah.
And that's really what the strength of the book is.
Yeah. I agree with you. This was a slow read. It was an enjoyably slow read. Like it worked for me that it took me a while to get through this one. I liked the Count. I thought he was amusing. I liked his narrative style in this. I thought he was a very fun character to read. In my note, I wrote he's low-key like Eloise, just living in the hotel, which was really great. And I like his relationships. I like his friendships. I love his developing familiar relationships.
I just want to add before we move away from the pacing conversation. For me, I think I would have agreed with you guys on like it was like when the first read, I agree, like it was slow and I was kind of like, where is this going? But on the second read, I don't know, you're kind of like, you know where it's going, right?
You know what you're
So
getting into.
Yeah, you have a little bit more time to like just kind of like absorb what's happening in the moment. And for me, it kind of made sense, honestly, that it was slow in the beginning because like you're thinking about like he's under house arrest and he's kind of facing down like this indefinite amount of time. And he's wondering, what do I do? Do I just do the same thing over and over again every day? And for me, it made sense like that as like a choice for the author, maybe. So anyway, at first, you know, it's slow and a little annoying, but then on the second read, a little more enjoyable and it makes a little more sense. So
it's like when you go somewhere and then when you're on the return journey, you're like, oh, that didn't take nearly as long as I remembered.
Yeah.
Because you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you're taking everything else in.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, relationships.
Yeah, so I would say his two most important relationships are with Nina and then with Sophia.
Yes. Which is crazy because it's one of those books, it's a little on the longer side, it's not terribly long, but Sophia doesn't show up until well after the halfway mark.
Yeah. So Nina is this little girl who's also in the hotel. I forget why exactly she's there.
Her dad's like a diplomat or something.
Yeah, so her parents are someone important. So he forms this friendship with her as she's living in the hotel, and they maintain it for years. And then at one point, you flash to her being older, and she is with this guy, and they're becoming some sort of activists doing some sort of cause.
Bolsheviks.
Yes.
Yeah, they're involved in the politics.
I forget. I think with the collectivization of the farms.
Yes.
I think. Okay. It comes to the point where Nina does not survive, but leaves her daughter, Sophia, for the Count.
And oh my gosh, it's the craziest thing. This part hurt my heart so much because you meet Nina when she's like 5 or 6, this like little girl. And the last time you see her, she comes into the hotel with her daughter who's 5 or 6 and leaves her with the Count and says to him, my husband's been sent like to the gulag. And she's like, and we're going to move to the town near where he is. So I'm going to go and like get us an apartment and then I'll come back in like a month and get her.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, and then she never came back.
Yep.
And you're just like, oh my God. So you don't like, obviously something happened to her, but you don't know when or what. That's the worst part of it. Cause that's how it would have been in real life a lot of time. Like you just don't know. And oh my God, it was so terrible. It was so sad. It was heartbreaking.
It was.
Yeah. Really sad.
But then after that, Nina's not in the book anymore ever. But then the Count suddenly has a daughter.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. So she's living with him, growing up. And I guess just like, there's so many other things we need to talk about too, but I guess just sticking with the Sophia plotline of what happens, she becomes a musician, like a very, very talented musician. And that's where the ending of the book kicks off. Like she goes to Paris to perform and her father sends her with like a note and like things he spied on in the hotel that the Russians are doing with like a nuclear power plant.
Yes, he's spying for the Americans.
Yeah.
And because an American stayed in the hotel.
And sends her with all of this and a note that's like, help me get out. Like, help me. And she escapes from Russia. And meanwhile, he escapes from the hotel.
From the Soviet Union, critically.
Yes. And he escapes from the hotel. So that's kind of jumping through that plotline to the end of the book. There are lots of pieces that you don't know the end is happening until it is happening.
Yeah.
You do not know about this escape. Like, there are hints. And Hannah, you probably picked up on them your second time reading.
Yeah.
There are hints as to what's happening throughout. I did not piece it together until I was reading the ending.
When it started to become clear on the second read, the first read, I think I probably was just as surprised as you guys. But the second read, it was when he was starting to like, you could see he was starting to plan and collect things. You could kind of see what was happening, like the passport, and he took somebody's clothes, you know.
And there was even kind of a hint before that because there's a part where 2 of his closest friends in the hotel are the chef and the maitre d' at the restaurant. And they spend all this time like pilfering forbidden ingredients to make a dinner that they can eat together. And it's the same type of like sneaking and stealing that he uses to pull all these things together for Sophia's escape plan and for his.
And one of the plots I employs here that I clearly remember is one of his friends was like a fellow waiter. The Count wanted to wait at this very specific dinner where he wound up spying and getting this information.
Right.
But because it was a super high level dinner.
Like so Khrushchev was there.
Exactly. So they had the waiter who was supposed to do it pretend his hands were shaking too bad so he couldn't do it. And then it turned out he was like a master juggler and had no issues with his hands at all. And you don't find that out until like a good bit later on. But that was the one that caught me. I was like, wait a second. Like, what about that?
Yeah.
And that was really the only one.
It's all explained.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's really great writing that nothing goes on being a plot hole or unimportant.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So that being said, I have a question for you because I don't think this is a plot hole. I think this is something that I failed to understand. So when the Russian Revolution broke out, prior to the events of the book, but we hear about it, the Count was in Paris and he came back to Russia to get his grandmother out, but he didn't leave. And I don't understand why.
I'm not really sure I understood why either.
Was that something to do with his sister?
Well, there was his sister who was already dead, I think. There was the thing with his friend and the poem, and he was on house arrest because his friend wrote this like revolutionary, like libelous poem, and he took ownership of it because he was a member of the aristocracy, and he's like, they'll kill you, they won't kill me.
Yeah.
Well, they might not.
Well, you know.
Exactly.
They didn't know that yet, that they would have wished they did.
Yeah. I don't know if he necessarily had to be there to take the ownership of the poem, though.
I think it was something like he felt so much regret as to not being there when his sister died.
Yeah, well, he wasn't there when his sister died, and then also he had that promise because he felt like his sister died, or he wasn't there when his sister died because he had shot his sister's former lover.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that whole thing that was like, I will never take arms against my fellow man again or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's my thing that I was like, because he successfully came back to Russia and got his grandmother out. So why didn't he go with her, was my question.
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't have an answer.
Okay.
And
again, I'm sure like it's there and maybe we just aren't seeing it. Because there's so many things. There were a couple things that I had to go back and read pages again because I didn't understand that they were important. Like he told the story about how he made an enemy of the man who came to court his sister.
I had to reread that.
And I had to reread it because he didn't use names. So I was like, why is he telling this random story?
Mm-hmm.
And then chapters later, it became clear why. And I was like, oh, I don't remember that at all. Let me go back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's all there, but you have to be wearing your glasses. You cannot be sleeping on this book.
Yeah.
Like I could not listen to it on audio because my mind tends to wander when I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be locked in.
Well,
because every word matters.
I agree. And I think like there's this whole, like the prose is like very descriptive and there's so much to it, but it's funny because a lot of it, you're like, this is so kind of gratuitous, like the descriptions of everything. One thing that was interesting to me was like, he was describing the cabinet that the hairdresser had, and he was describing it in so much detail and everything that was in it. And I'm like, oh, that's just the Count's personality. You know, he's just so like lavish and describes everything. But then it comes back later in the story. One of the things he stole was in this cabinet that he had described in so much depth.
Mm-hmm.
It was like some like, I don't remember what it was, but it was something that he needed for his escape.
It was hair dye.
Yeah.
It was so that Sophia could Gone Girl style, like go into the bathroom and cut off all her hair and dye it a different color.
And he gave her his sister's like sewing scissors, and then later on she's like, these scissors were not meant for cutting hair. Like,
yeah, but everything that was described, you know, in like such a like descriptive kind of beautiful poetic fashion, like came to be useful.
You're right. Like I never thought how that serves multiple purposes. Because at first I was just like, it serves to make the experience of the book so good. It's like, Erin, like you were saying, this is a long read and kind of a slow one, but you enjoy all of the time that you're spending with it. Mm-hmm. And also it serves to further the characterization of the Count because he's like a, you know, a lifelong aristocrat and he places importance on things like wine pairings and, you know, furniture and, you know, whatever. But then you're right, it's like hiding in plain sight all of these important plot points.
Yeah, and that's just one instance. There were like many.
Yeah.
Even the sister's scissors where she cut her hair was another thing like that too.
The scissors, you get one mention of them and it's the like first day of his house arrest. Mm-hmm. And then they don't come back until that very end when Sophia is escaping in Paris.
Yeah, or like the apples that were in his hometown, right?
Yeah.
And then he tasted the apples and the honey and then didn't he end up there in the end? That's where he escaped to?
Yes. So this is probably where we should discuss another character, Anna.
Yeah.
And Anna is an actress and she stays off and on at the hotel over the years and she and the Count become lovers and they're sweet. They're very cute. And in the end, they're together at the little village that surrounds what used to be the Count's family's like summer like country estate.
Novgorod, an idle hour, which I love.
An idle hour. And there's some beautiful line that I should have highlighted in the end that I didn't. It was like, you know, you have memories of a place and you go back there and it turns out like the home that you knew isn't there anymore. But it's okay because it's like beautiful in your memories. Like I'm not saying it, you know, obviously it's written better than that. But I thought that he was going to escape the hotel and go be with Sophia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, wait. So at the end, I'm like, are he and Anna going to try and hide out in the Soviet Union? Are they going to escape? Are they going to go find Sophia? Are they going to just like do their, like, where are they going to go? Like, I don't know.
In my mind, they have to go meet her. I don't know. They have to at some point.
Yeah. So you get like, it's an ending, but there's still more beyond the ending.
I actually have something from the author's website that I was just pulling up on the ending. And I think it's not going to make anyone happy. Whatever. It's not going to make anyone upset, but it's not going to answer any questions.
Wait a minute.
Okay, fine.
It was he had 3 of the most frequently asked questions he received about the book. The first was, what was all the A words in the chapter titles? Which that was not something
I didn't know.
Oh, God.
That. To be perfectly honest, he doesn't have a good answer. He was just doing that to do that.
Okay.
You know what? I admire a writer when they're just like, just cuz.
The second was, how did the Count finance his time at the Metropole?
The gold bars, right? In the dresser?
Oh, I thought that he was just like, well, I have to stay here, so.
Yeah, no. The Count because of the poem, the Count has upper friends in the upper ranks of the party, and it was not uncommon for Soviet era for the favored to receive housing from the state. So he says, so I think we can assume the Count's attic quarters were provided for free, and then he uses the gold for additional expenses. And the day he decides to stop using the gold is when he approaches to ask for a job.
He becomes a working man.
I loved that so much.
The last most pressing, most common question. On the book's last page, an individual is sitting in the tavern. Some readers are unsure of who that individual is. Is it not the Count? And then he said, all I can tell you is that the person sitting at the tavern is described by a specific adjective which has been used throughout the novel to describe a specific character.
What?
So if you read closely, you know the answer yourself. I remember this, there was an adjective and it was about the Count, but I don't remember what the adjective is. So I think it's on the last page. So Hannah is doing on-the-ground research.
So of course it was the Count.
But why would that be a commonly asked question? I'm like, are people stupid?
Yeah, I assumed.
I just don't remember what the adjective was.
Okay. Having wished the young pirates well, our traveler made his way into the local village about 5 miles away. Though he didn't mind seeing that so many of the old landmarks had disappeared, he was greatly relieved to find the inn at the edge of the town was still there. Ducking his head as he came through the front door and taking his rucksack from his shoulder, he was greeted by the innkeeper, a middle-aged woman who appeared from the back, wiping her hands in her apron. She asked if he was looking for a room. He confirmed that he was, but he said that he'd like to have something to eat first. So she gestured with her head toward the doorway that led to the tavern. Ducking his head again, he went inside. Given the hour, there were but a few citizens seated here and there at old wooden tables, eating a simple stew of cabbage and potatoes, or drinking a glass of vodka. Offering a friendly nod to those who bothered to look up from their meals, the man headed to the little room with the old Russian stove at the back of the tavern. And there in the corner at a table for two, her hair tinged with gray, the willowy woman waited. There's no adjectives about him in this page.
At all? Okay.
The page before then.
I read it out loud carefully to make sure I didn't miss the adjective. It must be like when he got to the place that they might describe him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe it was who was the person sitting at the table and it was the woman. Hang on.
Oh, well, it's Anna.
But it says specifically, who the individual is. So it was Willowy.
Oh.
So it's describing Anna. Okay.
Well, yeah, I understood that.
Yeah, me too. I got it immediately.
So, like, our reader's stupid.
Okay, well, why is no one asking him the important question, which is, where are they going to go after that?
Exactly.
Are they going to get Sophia?
I think they're going to leave.
Ugh.
That would be my guess, but it's up in the air.
It would just make me so sad if the Count never saw his daughter again.
You can't do that. She'd be an orphan.
You wanted to talk about Anna, and I cut you off.
Oh, well, it's just like she's important.
Speaking of the willowy woman.
She's in the end, yeah. Like, clearly it cycles back around. It's hard to tell initially when the characters are introduced even how important they'll all be.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
They grow in esteem over the years. Like he said, his two best friends basically are the two men who work in the restaurant with him. The woman who is the seamstress in the hotel is also very close to him. Mm-hmm. He has an enemy who was a waiter in the restaurant who fails upward into a management position, but has like this lifelong grudge against the Count. Mm-hmm. And he ends up trying to foil the Count's escape attempt. And the Count has to hold him at gunpoint and tie him up in the basement, which is very satisfying. Mm-hmm. But you just don't know. Like, the first time you see this waiter who becomes this evil manager, and he's just, like, bad at wine pairings, and so the Count is annoyed with him, you have no idea he'll become, like, this 30-year antagonist, you know, in the Count's life.
Then it leads to, he, like, labels all of the wine as red or white and takes off the labels.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh.
Speaking of the wine.
Wine plays a very big role in this book.
It does.
It does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the character development is really, really, like, rich with all of the characters kind of big and small.
I don't remember many names of the side characters, but I remember really liking them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the Bolshevik who's high up in the government who comes to the hotel once a week to learn English from the Count. Mm-hmm. And he's the one who ends up getting Sophia the placement to play piano in Paris.
Yes.
Like, not knowing that she's going to use it to escape, but still, like, the Count has all of these people and all of these connections that he can use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From just being in the hotel, he has all of these connections.
Mm-hmm. Networking.
Yeah. And so you see the benefit of his aristocratic life, but you also there are echoes of what's going on in the Soviet Union, in the world outside. Like one of those is Nina and how she becomes this collectivist worker, and then her husband is sent to the gulag and she never returns.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the count's oldest and closest friend, who was this poet, this man who wrote this poem, and he also ends up getting sentenced because he won't take a line out of one of his works, and he lives through his sentence, but he like withers up and dies. Like he just can't continue on after that.
Okay.
And you see those effects of the Soviet Union, like even though you're in the very posh hotel.
Yeah, I have a question. I kind of like, I don't know if this book really intended to be political or not, but I really felt like it came off as like really putting nobility in a very good light and really showing, obviously like the Bolshevik and the Soviet Union didn't work out, but it was interesting to see like nobility portrayed so positively, and like all of the communist and Bolshevik stuff being portrayed very, very negatively. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you guys saw anything in like the politics of it or not.
To me, I didn't really see it as like an overarching political commentary, mostly because the Count was just such an individual character. Like it just gave me the impression that he is just smarter than the average person. Mm-hmm. And like he is just better at working people. And like a lot of that is tied with his like influence as nobility. Like what you would assume grew up kind of learning how to work people. But to me, I didn't really read into it politically. I think it just struck me as such as like an individual narrative.
Yeah.
But I do think if you did read it with that in mind, it's undeniably true.
Absolutely.
Because there's no positive representation of the Soviet government. And to be fair, there aren't that many other aristocrats represented. Like, you're not getting former Russian aristocracy coming into the hotel. You're getting Americans and Finns and Brits and, all of these people.
There was one.
Okay.
He wasn't Russian, but he came to I only picked up on this in the second read, which is kind of what made me start thinking about all of that. And it was like, the Count was like, here's a kindred spirit of like a nobleman. I think he was like a British noble or something like that. But it was sort of like placing him in like a higher esteem. And then it kind of made me think about how everybody kept calling him the Count, except for, even though they weren't supposed to. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't supposed to be like overtly political, or actually, you know what? Who knows? I don't assume
maybe
the author's intentions, but I just found that interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting.
Overall, I really liked this. I enjoyed it. It was a slow read, but it was a good read.
Yeah. And I really liked the writing of this one, the prose of it.
Yeah.
Like, even when you're going on for these descriptions that are pretty frequent and often long, they feel earned.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have one more quick thing to say.
Yeah.
That's okay. I liked that a common theme of the book was like, he said this outright in the beginning, was that he like was going to set out to be like Robinson Crusoe and to master his circumstances. And like, obviously he tried to do that, but it was cool to see also other characters in the book do that. Like another good example is Anna, who like really like kind of had her like a career in silent movies or something like that.
Yes, and she couldn't transition to talkies.
But then she
just like Singing in the Rain.
Exactly, but then she found like a second life in like a different type of career, and then like Sophia and Nina, like all of these people who kind of like had kind of tougher situations for whatever reasons, and then kind of came above them. I guess there's one counter example which comes to mind is his friend Mishka, the guy, but I don't know. A lot of the side characters kind of also had that going on, which I liked a lot.
All right, should we get into historical accuracy?
I have one tiny thing to add, but it's not really a thing that's up like a discussion point.
Okay.
Would love to hear it.
I love that there were footnotes.
I liked the footnotes better in this than in Babel. Did I maybe write that down? I remember, no, I had some sort of comment in my notes and I don't, or maybe I texted you about it. I don't know. They worked better for me in this.
Well, I like any type of footnote. These were a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, but they would provide asides to like very, very tangential characters that were mentioned briefly in like a paragraph in the main narrative. Yeah. And then the footnote would like tell you more about them.
I think I liked that style because I like knowing what happens to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I like any kind of footnote, so I was just happy to see them.
Okay. Well, with that, it's time for historical accuracy.
Woo!
I already made the comment I needed to on the structure, but I had stuck that in that section because I didn't know where to put it. But just quickly, none of the characters are based on anyone real. this was also like nobles weren't just like put under house arrest. Like most of them were forced to flee or face very brutal ends. So this would be like an anomaly. I didn't really look into that much detail if this was like even that much of a possibility because I wanted to focus on the Hotel Metropole.
Woo!
Which is
here, before you move on, I just want to add real quick. I also thought like, oh, maybe they would in real life just be like killing this guy or something. But when he goes into the hotel for his exile, it's still really early in the revolution.
Yeah.
Like the Romanovs are alive. So in my head, I was just like, maybe it just hasn't really ramped up yet.
Well, and
Yeah,
I
so-
did. Oh, sorry.
I just don't know how true that is. But in my head, I was like, okay, sure. And then it made sense to me.
I did see online that apparently house arrest was a thing that did happen.
okay.
I don't know if it was necessary, like the level
For
of crime
counts,
or
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
who it was
And you
for,
don't
but
get to
yeah.
stay at
But
the
it-
fancy hotel.
it did happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
The Fancy Hotel, a real hotel, a short walk from the Kremlin.
Ooh.
Its construction began in 1899 and opened in 1905. It started out Art Nouveau style, but became more plush and modern when the original funders of the hotel project went bankrupt. Originally, opponents of the Bolsheviks hunkered down in it during 1917, and the building suffered a lot of damage from the fighting. Then the hotel was nationalized, and it became the base of many Soviet activities, which we see represented in this book. And it was named the second house of the Soviets. The first house, I believe, was a different hotel elsewhere.
Interesting.
Throughout the entire time, it was still offering rooms to guests. During World War II, actually many Allied press corps were housed there, and it kind of became like a journalism hub during World War II. Still operates as a hotel today. It's a luxury 5-star hotel.
Wow.
Our next pod trip to Russia.
Wow.
I love how we haven't even managed to go on the Johnny Tremaine walking tour, and you're like, we could go to Russia.
I was about to say, fuck the Johnny Tremaine walking trail.
Is that in Boston?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hannah, you could come. You are familiar with the
Wait, is it
Boston
the
area.
Freedom Trail?
No.
No, it's the Johnny Tremaine walking tour.
It's different?
It's specific to the book Johnny Tremaine.
Crazy.
But obviously, I think there's a large overlap with the Freedom Trail.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wow. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, that's all I got. I went to focus on the hotel. It's very how it's described in the book. Very like plush and modern and glam.
I want to eat at that restaurant so bad.
I
Yeah,
know.
It sounded incredible.
Well, not only do we know that the food is amazing and the wine pairings are immaculate, but we know the service is good.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what I got for historical accuracy. The rest of it, I mean, I didn't go into too much detail because I do think this is kind of an area we are all kind of familiar with.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the revolution, like,
Especially,
and there's not really much else in this book to go off of because it's so fishbowl.
Yeah, and the book doesn't even really go into the revolution that much. So I'm like, well,
Yeah, I think there's like some like small things
Yeah.
that, like change of leadership and stuff, but it seemed
it's
accurate.
not. The count is so removed from it. But
yeah.
we can do our star calculator, and I did not make a new tab on the spreadsheet, so I am just going to do it in my phone.
Okay.
The categories are historical accuracy, originality, characters, prose, and vibes. I can go first.
Go ahead.
Historical accuracy, this was an interesting one for me because, as I just said, the count was so removed from everything. I would give it a 4. Just the hotel, I think, was the biggest thing, and that felt very real to me, to how it really is. Originality, I give it a 5. I love the concept of just like that single universe or location. Characters, I would give it a 5 as well. The count was so charming, and I really did like everyone else as well. The prose, I would give it a 4. It did drag a bit for me, especially at the beginning, but again, that's not a bad thing. And then for vibes, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. No reason.
That is a 4.4.
That's a 4.4, and I gave this a 4 on Storygraph, so pretty accurate. That's fine leaning 5, but very high end. A hair away from a 5.
Okay. Okay.
This is not your middle of the road fine leaning 5.
Hmm.
It's not your mom's fine leaning 5.
Exactly.
All
Well,
right.
I don't necessarily agree with my mom's 5
Oh.
anyway, so.
All right, I'll go next. So, historical accuracy, I agree. I'll go 4.
Originality.
I think I agree with you about the 5. I'll go 5 for that and 5 for characters because that's the strength of the book.
Yeah.
That's the core of it. I'm also going to go 5 for prose.
Okay.
I think that this book would not have worked at all had the prose not been so strong. I think the tedium factor would be greatly increased.
Okay.
However, I have to go 4 for vibes, and I can't go all the way to 5 just because that drag in the beginning.
That's fair.
And Hannah, I completely believe you that if I read it again, I feel like that would be alleviated. However, I just read it, so I'm not going to read it again anytime soon.
That's okay.
So for me, that's a 4.6. That's pretty high. I gave it a 4.25 on Storygraph.
Mhm.
So I think I agree with you that this is a fine leaning 5.
All right. Hannah.
Okay, so yeah, I think interesting. So I think if you had asked me to rate it the first time, I would go lower, but because I enjoyed it so much on the second time, I'm giving it straight 5s.
Whoa!
I'm a harsh critic. I give nothing a 5.
I don't need to put anything in my
Oh
calculator.
my god, okay.
I am, based on your category specifically.
Yes.
Okay, if there were other things, maybe it wouldn't be all straight 5s.
Well, and our categories are foolproof.
As we know. You might be I don't know if this is a true statement. Are you our only guest who's given 5s across the board, or did Ashley give 5s across the board?
I feel like Ashley would have.
No.
Well,
Ashley did not give 5s across the board.
I also liked this book a lot when I recommended it, and then had the benefit of liking it even more the second time. I think, yeah, I probably would have docked it more on the first try.
Oh my god.
And also, I was incorrect. Kelly with Atmosphere was straight 5s.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Also, I feel like now we just need to keep doing the pod for like 5 to 10 more years, and then we can have a season of books that we've already done on the pod.
And we read this and Hamlet again.
Yeah,
Exactly.
This has to be a reread.
This has to be on one. And then we'll think.
We'll figure it out. We'll brainstorm.
We'll put in some flops on purpose to see if we changed our minds.
Love at the Time of Cholera. We can break that again.
No. No.
All right. Well, Hannah, thank you for a lovely suggestion. Thank you for redeeming yourself in your taste in your taste in books.
Okay. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Hannah's like, I'm done with this podcast.
Bye. I'm not coming back.
No, I'm sincerely glad you enjoyed this a lot more.
Yes. Absolutely.
Erin, next week we're reading a book for the first time. What is it?
The Paper Daughters of Chinatown by Heather B. Moore, featuring my former roommate, Spencer.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. This marks, I think, the first time. Well, no, because we have Kat. Never mind. I was going to say that we have an Erin former roommate instead of a Grace former roommate.
We've had Kat on here twice, and also we've had Diana twice, and I lived with Diana in undergrad.
Okay. So the first Erin former roommate who is a man.
I was going to say a boy.
A boy on the pod?
Of a specific house.
The first roommate from that specific house. But yes, so get excited for that episode. This is a topic that I had actually read about in a different Lisa C book.
Oh.
So I will certainly be talking about that next time.
If it's the pod, it always comes back to Lisa C.
Always. Her new book this year, I can't wait.
Lisa C season win.
Oh my god.
We could.
Erin's gonna run out of all of the books.
I think I've read most of her books.
Anyway, in the meantime, please follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at @5erflop_pod. And just because it's a new year doesn't mean it's too late to join the Storygraph Reading Challenge for Season 5.
Where you can easily track what you rated these books in case you need to pull it up on the spot on the podcast.
Hey, there you go.
Exactly. If you think we should be reading something else, if you really want us to give Love in the Time of Cholera another shot, enter it into our recommendation form in the bio of all of our social medias, or shoot us an email, 5erfloppodcast@gmail.com.
And in the meantime,
Hannah, sign us off.
What do I say?
I love when we catch people not knowing our ending. Happy reading!
Happy reading!
bye!